something this afternoon because I was talking to him. And something about a litigation that he was working on.
Oh, you did? We put a few more things out.
Good evening. I'd like to welcome everyone to the Dyer Redevelopment Commission meeting on October 14th, 2021 at 6 p.m. Just a note for all of you, if you are here for the budget hearing, that will follow the RDC meeting. We're having the RDC meeting first, then we'll have the budget hearing, and then we will go into the town council meeting, just so that you know where we are. And it's nice to have a crowd of people here. So welcome, everybody. And if this is the first time you have come to a town council meeting, come back. So with that, we would like to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call, please.
Here.
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 Here. We have citizen input. Anybody have any comments for Redevelopment Commission? Please state your name and address if you have a comment. Anyone have a comment? Moving right along. Next, we have a consent agenda, which consists of the minutes of the September 9th, 2021 Redevelopment Commission meeting and claims totaling $390,683. Do we have a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented?
I'll second.
We have a motion and second. Roll call, please.
Bob,
Aye.
Alan,
Aye.
Alicia. Aye. Steve,
Aye.
Mary.
Aye. Next, we have new business. We have property acquisitions of 2203 Hart Street, 2204 Hart Street, and 2012 Hart Street. We need a motion to approve the appraisals as presented.
I'll make a motion to approve the appraisals and to also extend an offer of purchase for 2203 Hart, 2204 Hart, and 2012 Hart Street.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. May we have a roll call, please?
Bob,
Aye.
Alan,
Aye.
Alicia. Aye. Steve,
Aye.
Mary.
Aye. Next, we have 902 213th Street. I need a motion to approve to order an appraisal for that property.
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Madam
Yes.
President, it's been our past practice to use Mr. Vale and Mr. Wojnowski as our appraisers. I know there have been, I don't want to go into the details, but Mr. Wojnowski has had personal issues, and I don't know how long he would take the appraisal to be. The last bunch we had seemed to have been just fine. I don't know if the instructions will be to go with him again, or if there was someone else the commission wished to use. I'm not sure what sort of time frame you're looking at, and if this is an urgent matter.
It definitely is urgent.
Is there a
Yeah.
list of people that we?
I was gonna say, if you guys feel comfortable enough just ordering us to have 2 appraisals, we will find ones that are known in the industry.
We can start with the 2 we've been using and just inquire into a time frame, and if there's a problem, we'll call around. Have to make the commission aware.
Is there any discussion on the,
No, sounds good.
Thank you.
do I need to do a roll call? Okay, we're all okay with that.
Oh, no, I mean, do a roll, there's a motion in a second, so we should do a roll call. vote.
Okay, let's, roll call,
There's
please.
no amendment needed.
Bob,
Aye.
Ellen,
Aye.
Alicia, Aye.
Aye.
Steve, Mary.
Aye. Next, we have cold storage building, concrete and apron. There's a memo in your folders regarding the use of TIP funds for the amount of $21,875. We need a motion to approve that. It is for the apron for Public Works. Do you have any other discussion
Sure.
on that?
The improvement project to concrete the cold storage building was done, completed, and the total is 87,500. At first, it was thought to take it out of building maintenance, but after reconsideration, it's more of an improvement project that should be shared by the utilities and the TIF. So this is just an equal split. Myself and Frank have already attended the other board meetings, and this is just the 4th final piece of the pie for it. So it'd be 4 equal splits if you guys go ahead and approve that. 21,875 divided by TIF, stormwater, wastewater, and then water.
Thank you.
I'll make that motion to approve the 87,500 total for all the categories.
Have a second? Okay. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Bob,
Aye.
Ellen,
Aye.
Alicia, Aye. Steve,
Aye.
Mary.
Aye. Any and all? Any other discussion? And I would entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second? All those in favor, voice vote?
Aye.
We're moving on to the budget hearing right now.
We're going to open the town council meeting.
Right.
We'll go
Okay.
through the citizen input,
Okay,
and then we'll get to the public hearing. Yep.
okay.
Call to order the regular town council meeting. Will the deputy clerk take the roll?
Here.
Mary,
Here.
Alicia,
Here.
Steve,
Here.
Alan.
Here. Next, we already said the pledge, but could everybody please rise? We'll have a moment of silence for Randy Astor, the clerk treasurer's husband who passed away recently. Thank you. Next, do we have any citizen input?
Please come up to the podium and state your name and address.
Joan Abrams, I live at 1342 Briar Crossing. I have a park in my backyard, which I thought was gonna be a parking lot, and now it's batting cages, like just in my backyard, like, it, go away. So that's gonna be very noisy, and I'm gonna listen to that all day and night. This plan changed, because the original plan had plants released there.
Did- Yes, you can also step forward, state your name and address.
Hi, my name is Joanna Brown, and I'm at 1350
Briar Crossing Drive. So I guess when the gentleman came out and showed me the plans, I didn't realize how close that was gonna be. It's like literally feels like it's. in
I
my
have
backyard.
pictures.
Those batting cages are huge. I don't know if there was ever a meeting to discuss what was gonna go there. I know that the fire department got switched to the other side due to some unhappiness from residents, but from further on from there, I don't know that we were informed in what was happening, because I know it's a big space. I feel like they could have put the batting cages elsewhere. It's literally right behind my backyard.
The park department has been planning this for about 2 years.
Right, but not
There's
the
trees.
batting cages have been planned there for 2 years?
Right there.
Yeah.
They couldn't have been because I think recently they just wanted, but the fire department was switched.
I live around, we take a walk.
You're gonna take a walk?
But
Mike, do you know how?
it doesn't even look aesthetically pleasing to me. I don't know who designed the park to be like that, but to think that they should put it right there in front of the homes versus closer to the field. Like they could have put two on either side of that little pathway.
Right.
Closer
the
to the
center.
field where then the kids would be having more access to it. So that's a concern for me. The parking lot is a kind of a concern as far as kids loitering after hours. Are
Well,
they
the
gonna have?
parks will be, our Dyer parks are closed from dusk to dawn.
Okay, well, they have
They're
some
out
kind
there
of a
at night.
gate, right? Well, they have a
They're-
gate to block off the parking lot.
Oh.
They're out there at night already because you could hear them over there by that new concession stand.
Okay.
There's kids hanging around over there and you could hear it as clear as day in the evening when there's no noise outside.
Okay. Well, the chief's taking notes. The loiterers will be gone.
So is there plans to do any kind of, I guess we were originally told that there was gonna be trees and greenery. So is there something that's gonna separate the park from like where the homes are, where the reservoir is? Are they
That's,
planning to still
Mike,
do?
can you answer that?
trees?
Yeah, the plan with the batting cage, that's been there for about 3 years.
Well, 2, 3.
No, I don't think,
it's
no,
been
I
there
don't
for
think
3
so
years.
because we were at the firehouse meetings.
Well, that's been a part of the plan over for the north side, where the batting cage is there. Now, I won't go exactly, now the stone that's there now is just the base of the entire area. It won't go up to the edge of that stone. It'll still be a little bit, but basically it'll be 8 cages, 4 and 4 kind of stacked. on top of
Yeah.
each other. There'll be black poles and black netting over there. Now, even for the batting cages, now it's not a machine that's there. You know, so anybody, somebody can just go there and just turn the machine on or something like that. They're meant for open live throwing it to be used. It won't be up there year round. When winter time comes, towards the end of the fall, the netting and stuff will come down. And as far as landscaping wise, yes, there will be screening that will go up there. That will separate between the kind of where the homes would be and where the bandit cage area would be. Same thing as through the parking lot and same thing through the middle.
Excuse me, what does screening mean? What do you mean by
Well, I
that?
didn't like landscaping screening.
So trees, like,
Trees, yeah.
okay, not like. a
So they're gonna
screen.
type thing.
Plant trees in the reservoir because
Uh,
this is already up to
It's
the
already to
end,
the edge of the
at the edge of the
reservoir.
reservoir.
I
right.
heard
And-
guys, when I took my dog out about a week ago, I heard guys were there looking around like this. The guys that put it down, walking around going, wow, it's awful close.
And the
And I'm
ditch is
hearing
still
what
there
they're-
that the water made that they still haven't fixed, that the lawnmowers flipped their lawnmowers over in that big area where it's like 2 feet deep.
How come it didn't go on the other side, the batting cages or closer to
Away
the
from the
field?
houses where you wouldn't even,
I don't know how that would ever affect my resale value of my house. I mean, the park is fine, the park is nice, but if they don't do some shrubbery or greenery that's gonna like make it pleasing, no one wants to like be on my deck and like look at netting and cages
and hear that all
parking
day
lot.
and hear that. I'm sure you people wouldn't want to hear that in your yard all day.
Well, I don't, go ahead,
No, I
Mike.
said, yes, but as you mentioned, the landscaping and stuff like that, yeah, there is plans for landscaping. We work with the landscape architect that's putting together the final landscaping bidding documents for the entire north end of Central Park. They include the parking lot in between the core area of the ball fields, and it also includes the area around the band gate. So the plans that do go in there, that will be done with the landscape architect do. Plans that are going in there are plans that will, are good, survivable, that are meant for that type of area of being close to the swale that's out there.
It also looks like there's going to be lighting because there's the red flags for the electric.
Yeah,
There will be lights out there, yes.
pretty unhappy with where those are. It's her
Right.
and my
It's
house
our-
that
our
are directly
houses.
affected.
Right.
That thing encompasses two homes with a space in between. It's like how, it wasn't, I guess when I heard batting cage, when the guy just came out maybe a week or two ago, I was like, how big could a batting cage be? I didn't know a batting cage encompasses two
Well, there's
homes.
8 of them.
Right, so I didn't know how many there were gonna be till I saw the drawing either, but yeah, I definitely hope that you guys put something aesthetically pleasing, like the shrubs or some trees.
Or move it
there.
further back,
Yeah, if it could be moved
further back away from,
closer to the field,
there's plenty of property out there.
yeah.
You could also come to the next park board meeting and they can go over the plans they have with you for the landscaping.
When is that one gonna be?
We just had one Tuesday, so the next one,
November.
Yeah, November.
You know, the landscaping plan is still being finalized and stuff, so like, if you come to that, I don't know if I would have a plan of saying this is exactly what it would be, but yes, I mean, there will be landscaping. The whole north end is being landscape design.
That sounds like a perfect meeting especially if director just said the landscaping plan is not 100% prepared yet, maybe to come to the park board meeting and express your concerns so that they take that into consideration.
What
I do
date
know
is
when we-
that?
There's no room to put landscaping.
I do know when we
behind
were out there, one of the things we found is some of the residents started encroaching into the park property, thinking it was their own and started putting some landscaping in there. So that the property lines are going to come into a play over there as far as people thinking this is my property, this is not my property. So
Right, I've heard you guys kind of rebuttal us with that. I feel like you're just saying, well, you guys are overstepping your bounds.
no, not at all, not at all.
It kind of sounds
When you
like that.
develop a field like that,
We
you
moved
know,
our landscaping 3 times.
Yeah.
When they were
well,
starting.
property
the park.
lines have never moved. So just
Yeah,
that's
I
all.
get that they are what they are, but I just hope that to make some citizens that live there, we've been there for 15 years.
17.
Yeah,
17.
you know, and love the area, so.
I think park board is a great stop.
I echo that. The park board has jurisdiction over the parks, and that'd be the most.
So what was the date for that meeting?
Did you say November 9th? Was it?
Yeah.
November 9th?
November 9th.
This same room here.
Okay, do they have plans for some type of I was asking the guy too, as far as a bike trail since they're doing all this park stuff, is there gonna be a bike trail that can connect to other parts of the city? You can almost get hit by a car trying to ride your bike out on 213th to get anywhere.
We don't have anything right now, like a connection right now. We have some smaller type of connections from some smaller neighborhood parks that different parts of the town. I mean, that particular park will have further paths, connections kind of throughout, especially when you get down to the south and to the middle. Will expand out and stuff like that. But that, yeah, it's been a topic too, to figure out a longer connection that we could, make throughout the town, connect it to, some of the parks as well. So
And then what time do the parks close in Dyer?
the parks are open from dawn to dusk.
So I guess we have to come back to that.
There's no way of moving that further back.
I mean, we can always take a look at it. I mean, I know
There's all kinds of property right down the center that's, it
Right,
could
but
be,
some of the property down the center, like for instance, there's wells on one side of those. There's wells on the opposite side of.
On the outskirts, but that middle section, it kind of looks
Where
like.
a path would be, right now that's designed for a path, right down. the
there's
middle.
wells underneath there too, because I saw them put it.
Yeah, well, right, there's wells, yeah, there was, on each end, on the
Yeah.
east side, and the west side, there's been a well that's been installed. I mean, the path, there's a path around the ball field now, all 4 ball fields, currently, that was put in last September, October. I mean, we could, I'll talk about it with the park board. But also know too, like even, when we're making that base, like it's like similar to how you walk the path, right? It's a lot of the dirt is constructed, a little wider than what the path will actually be and stuff.
Well, that's
But-
what they
but
might
in
have
the
to
back-
move to be able to plant anything.
There's nowhere to
there.
plant it because there's all sewer pipes there.
Well, there will be room to plant, and even if you plant inside that's well, I've had conversations with our landscape architect too about it too. I mean, there are certain types of shrubs, plants that will thrive and survive within the,
'Cause that, it does fill up with water when it
Right,
rains
right.
hard.
Correct.
And it also now, because it's overgrown, they're not cutting, and then the water stands there because it's not flowing like it's supposed to.
the grass.
Yes, in the spot where the ditch is, where it made its own path, reservoir there.
Mr. President, I'm going to give my email to these
Okay.
residents so we can
Okay.
get them in touch with the park board, if that's okay with you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, ladies.
Okay.
I'm going to give you this is my email right here. If you can put the addresses that are all involved, and we'll communicate, and the group communicates with you. Okay.
Thank you.
Good evening.
State your name and.
My name is Al Cook. I live at 1326 Briar Crossing Drive. And you went to parochial school, it's MCCCXXV1. But that's another deal. First of all, I want to congratulate the town council for the new fire station. We had quite a involvement with discussing that, and the building turned out really nice. I think it's architecturally in harmony. It wasn't my first choice, but where it is, seems to be, it's going to be an asset to the community.
Thank you.
Second thing I want to do is congratulate the Dyer Police Department for monitoring the stop sign at the corner of 213 and Briar Crossing Drive. That key intersection is really a challenge. Most of those people think that stop sign should be changed to ooze or pause or roll through there. I live 3 doors down from that sign. And after I finished doing the lawn, as I'm recharging my geriatric batteries, I watched the cars going west. Out of 42 cars Monday morning, only 6 came to a complete stop. 4 didn't even touch the brake. They were zipping west. And the rest of them were slowing down, seeing that the law enforcement was monitoring the place, and they kind of cruised along. Perhaps, and I don't know what's going to really work, but maybe having one of those stop signs with the LED lights flashing on and off like they do by the hospital would bring more attention to it. I don't know. I've almost been cut in half twice on that thing. And what's really interesting, the last time the guy swerved around me as he went in that 3rd lane, he was kind enough to offer me one of his fingers. I have 10 of my own, and I didn't accept it. But that's the mindset, okay? So if there is some way that can be monitored, if you put a patrol car there every day for 2 months, you could buy a new patrol car. I'm telling you, something should be done for that. My third thing is about Central Park. I would hope that you would consider putting an aerator pump in that pond that has just been built over there. It has cultivated really thick scum and algae in there. Don't mind telling you, the bullfrogs love it. I mean, they're out there croaking up a storm. But in the hot weather, when that all ferments, it's got a perfume like you wouldn't believe. And I think this lack of agitation is the cause for that. So maybe down the road, and they do have those solar powered agitator pumps that can be programmed to run periodically, just enough to put the bubbles in the water to keep the bugs down. The other thing, twice this summer, there were kids about 10 years old on their bicycles over there playing daring do. How close can we come to the edge of that pond? I tell you, if they fall in there, they're gone. Part of the reason is the large aggregates is terrible footing. I could not run down there and even help those kids because you can't traverse those rocks. So somewhere down the line, you might want to consider putting a small decorative fence or something around her to show them the boundaries. The last time was when one of the moms brought their 3- and 4-year-old kids to see the ducks. And and it's really cool to watch them. but they have a tendency to get too close to the water too. So you might want to consider that about being proactive rather than having to explain why some kids got hurt. And finally, the reason I really wanted to come here tonight, I would respectfully ask the town manager to put a friendly reminder in the newsletter about the dog owners who walk their dog on a leash that's probably longer than it needs to be, and keep them from urinating on my trees and my grounds or defecating on the grass. I mean, in the old days, that was called respectful behavior, common sense. Today, common sense is no longer common. We have individuals who just, for whatever reason, just figure, you know what, dog's gotta go, he's gotta go. I had a kind of not a confrontation, but a discussion about that with one of the dog owners. He now walks around the block because he's mad at me, but that's fine. They could walk on the other side where the settlement pond is, but because there's no sidewalk there, they don't want to put their feet on the grass, so they run their pets down the street. So I would just ask that a little reminder to tell the individuals that it's more responsible and respectful to keep their animal under control and off. They want to do that on their property, I don't care. I photographed the stain on my trees and the dead lawn. I've repaired that lawn 4 times this summer. And I'll leave them here. I take a little bit of pride in what I do, and I just don't think this ought to happen, And if you have some magic way of doing that, for God's sake, tell me, because right now I'm a little bit frustrated. Anybody have any questions?
No, but thank you for coming.
If you don't have any,
Thank
please
you.
keep well, take care, stay safe, and God bless us all.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, I'll make this short and brief.
Could you state your name
Yes.
and address?
My name's Rod Salata. I own a property at 1318 Briar Crossing Drive. I'm the second house from the corner. So in case anybody doesn't know what 1318 is. First and foremost, I was here 2 years ago when the fire station was being built. And I just wanted to let you know that the last time the attorney, Bill Enslin, was here, and I just want to let you know you have my condolences on his part. I know people come in here. I've been president of the condo associations for a number of years, and people, it's all you hear is negative stuff. And I know what you guys are going through, because I put up with it for 8 years as president of the condo association in the area where I used to live. So no more negative stuff, hopefully. I just want to touch on the positive stuff. I do want to say that 2005, those homes were built. I was a Calumet City resident at the time. I brought my parents from Calumet City. They were in their 80s. And I felt we brought them here because it shows in the paper. Dyer is a very safe community and a very growing community and a very positive community in its outlook. So that's the reason why I brought them here. We loved the home. They loved it. They both passed here about the last 5-6 years, and they couldn't say enough about Dyer. So here I am, their son. And the things that I wanted to touch base on was, first of all, like Mr. Cook said, thanks for relocating the fire station. I think that was a wise choice. Of course, on my part, I'm right there, been maybe 80 yards from my house, but I think that was a great location that you picked, and the way everything seems to be lining up and coming into play. I think overall the improvement looks good. I think once it's finished, obviously things are going to look even better. You guys are working hard, and I just want to say thank you for your efforts. The one thing I do want to touch base on, being its close proximity, would be the pond. I know when I look at other ponds, I think there's a pond southwest of the 4 fields that are kind of joined together. There's a pond there, and there's a pond there's a lot of ponds, but the pond over the overpass behind Jewel, you got the townhomes and you got between the tracks and the townhomes, you got that pond there. What I like about that is the way it looks really clean, when the grass comes down and it meets the water, and it's just a clean look. And I was just wondering, was there any reason why I call them boulders, rocks, those were put in along the edge of the pond? Because, when you look at it, unless the water is high level like it is now, you don't see the rocks. But then when it recedes, you do see the rocks. Is there any reason, and I know Mr. Cook touched base on the aerator, so I don't have to touch base on that. Was there any reason why the boulders or the rocks were placed there? What was the purpose of that, I guess is my point, yeah.
I don't know.
Engineer.
Is
That
that,
would have been more just a recommendation
Yeah.
from the park engineer at the time, when those were being designed, but.
Well, so you don't know what behind his mind was, why they put it there? Like, what was the reason for that? I mean, is there any reason for putting them there? Because like I said, I like to look under the other grass, how it meets the water. It looks nice.
Yeah, and actually, going back even with the algae and stuff like that too.
Uh-huh.
We actually have sprayed three separate times. We purchased some algae.
Okay.
Types of algae mixes to try to get rid of. It was pretty thick. Now the recent rain kind of flushed a lot of it away and stuff like that. We brought it up. Even I met with our engineer too out there about what else we could do to try to prevent that area.
Right.
To be and stuff like that. Both those are retention ponds. I mean, the purpose of it is to hold water when needed, and then that's it. Assist with the flooding stuff that we had. Some parts used to be a lot of flooding here and stuff like that. The reason for the rocks, that was more their recommendation, really, his recommendation at the time. I could get more into it, I guess, why, the rocks and stuff. Now, the one pond over on the corner, the back corner towards the middle, kind of southwest,
Right.
There's some fixing that needs to be done over there. Some of the land, the dirt, stuff like that kind of caved a little bit. And needs to be repaired and stuff like
Right.
that. So even when we go back to get some of the construction that's being done now finished, I know that we are looking at a punch list item to go back and even to that particular pond, fix it up even a little bit more. But that at that time too, all has to do I'd say you're looking more and more aesthetic stuff.
Right. Will all these issues be looked at real quick, like next spring, or I know you guys got a lot going on now.
Well, I mean, we're on schedule. I would say to be done over the north end. I would say closer to the spring. I mean,
Okay.
We should get last should still be good done
Okay.
until December. But then, I mean, there's still work
That's fine.
need to be done. Like that.
Yeah, I just got concerned about that, and I got so concerned that I built a lifeguard chair in my backyard. So where it overlooks the pond, so in case I have to save somebody. But no, jokingly, that's for my dad. He was a lifeguard for the Park District and also for the FBI Academy in Quantico, Virginia. So I built that as a memory as far as his passing, and I'm gonna put a little plaque up there pretty soon. But well, I appreciate your feedback. And one more thing on the parking lot. I don't know if I was listening or not earlier. With the lights going in, will those be on a dusk to dawn or a timer?
Wait, you're talking about the parking lot lights?
Parking lot lights, correct, yeah.
Well, the ball field lights too. The ball field lights will be on obviously when somebody is there or using the field now. The way the ball field lights are designed and engineered is that there's no spillover lighting, all the lighting directly on the playing surface. So there shouldn't be anything going into anyone's kitchen or anything like that. These are newer lights, more designed, some better design. And that's how they must go with the company that we're using. So there shouldn't be any spillover or whatnot. It should be on the playing surface.
Okay, so they'll go off at a certain time, did you say, or?
Yeah, so those lights can, go, I mean, as soon as somebody's done, there is a program.
I got you.
On the program on the website. Lights,
All the parking lot lights conform to our light pollution ordinance, so they will be shining down. There should be nothing
Oh, okay. I get
onto
you.
your property.
So then
So-
it's not a dusk to dawn, the park, if there's lights, that means they're gonna be there in the evening too, right?
Well, yeah, similar to Gate Park. I mean, if there's.
So it'll be on all night, but the light will be
Yes.
more attracting downward
Right.
than outward.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. I
I'd
got
like
you.
to invite you to our stormwater meeting on the 20th right here. And you can get those answers, the questions answered that you
Okay.
have, especially for the riprap around
Yeah.
around that pond, because the engineer will be right there to help
Oh,
you.
okay.
Yeah.
20th?
20th, right here.
Okay. Sounds good. Hey, thank you very much for your time.
Thank
I
you.
really do appreciate it. Thank you.
Good evening. Could you state your name and address?
My name is Joyce Pills. I reside at 1422 Wake Street. And I'm here because I called the police department and I've had Mr. Dave Foley come to my home regarding the snakes, the problem with the snakes as a result of my neighbor in the back. He's accumulated all of this wood. He has an excessive amount of wood in his backyard. I called the police department in 2020. The officer came out, stated, he spoke with him, came back. He said that he told him he had to get rid of some of the wood. He only has one fireplace in his home.
Okay.
Since then, he's accumulated more wood. The neighbors surrounding him, we have snakes. I mean, when you go out in the morning or in the evening, my husband is killing snakes. I can't enjoy the backyard. I don't know what to do. Mr. Foley didn't get back with me. This is a problem not only myself, but other neighbors are beginning to endure. It's getting cold. These snakes are looking for a place to come in.
What street are you on?
I'm on Lake Street. He's on Cozy Lane, the Millers.
Okay. We'll talk.
And
to-
I have
yeah,
pictures of the wood if you care to see.
That's fine, but we'll talk to the code enforcement officer and have him take another look at it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay.
My name is Cynthia Hutchison. I live next door to this lady, Joyce. I have small puppies. There's snakes in my yard. One was about this big around. They come everywhere. The neighbor behind me who lives next door to the person who has this wood pile. She has little kids and she has a pool heater and they were like surrounding this pool heater for warmth. She screamed, she couldn't wait for her husband got home to do something about it. A man down on the very corner of my street. There's two big ones in his yard. Every time he tries to get them, they take off. My weed man sent me a email saying that we are having very much trouble with snakes, more so than in the past year. And he's advocating getting feral cats to take care of them. Now, I do not want feral cats in my neighborhood, nor do I want snakes. I don't live in the country. I've never had snakes except for these past 4 years. And my name is down from calling the police station and having a policeman come out. He even put stuff down for them. I had to take a hoe and chop the head off one before it got my puppy. I'm terrified of snakes. I don't wish to have a heart attack over some snake because the man has this wood that he just keeps moving. The wood is right next to his house. My other concern is, what about fire? That wood catches on fire. Do you know how many of us have vinyl fences? There goes half the neighborhood up in smoke.
We'll have the code enforcement officer take a look at it. We'll look into the wood pile. I'm not sure what.
We'll have them come out tomorrow for
Yeah.
sure
And
and
he also
recheck the
has-
compliance out there.
He has a box on the easement. He has something that's interfering with that easement.
Okay.
I just wanted to throw it in and remember it. But these snakes have to go.
I can assure you, code enforcement will be out there tomorrow taking a look.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next, we're going to open the public hearing for the 2022 proposed budget. First, we have the general and non-utility funds. Do I have any public comment just regarding this budget issue? Any comment regarding the general and non-utility fund budget? Last call, any comment regarding the general and non-utility fund budget? Hearing none, we will open the 2022 proposed budget for the water district. Do I have any public comment regarding the water district budget? Any comment for the water district budget? Third and last call, any public comment for the water district budget? Hearing none, we'll move on to the 2022 proposed budget for the sanitary district operating. Any public comment? Any public comment for the sanitary district operating budget? Last call, any public comment for the 2022 sanitary district operating budget? Hearing none, we will close the public hearing and move on to the consent agenda. I need a motion to approve the consent agenda, which includes the minutes of the September 9th, 2021 Town Council meeting, claims totaling $577,687.57, Resolution 2022-33, transfer of funds, Clerk Treasurer donations received, $25 for police canine, and $50 fire department for the chief gift fund. Do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, will the deputy clerk take the roll?
Bob,
Aye.
Mary,
Aye.
Alicia,
Aye.
Steve,
Abstain, I wasn't there.
Alan.
Aye. Motion carries. Next, we have announcements. Halloween trick or treat hours will be Sunday, October 31st, 4 to 7 p.m. We also have the approval of the 2022 budget ordinance. This is a town council special meeting on October 28th at 6 p.m. And then also have a special meeting for the bond issue public hearing. That is November 10th at 6 p.m.
Mr. President, if we could also allow our budget presentation right now, we were supposed to give some time right after that budget hearing that I didn't have on there. So,
okay.
Mr. Dan Hedden from Baker Tilly.
Yes.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Dan Hedden. I'm a partner at Baker Tilly. I'm joined by David Dominguez Martinez. Him and I, and along with our team, have worked closely with the town over the last several weeks and months to assemble the statutory budget for the town. And today we have a short presentation for you to highlight some aspects of the budget. In front of you, you should have two documents. One is a 131-page double-sided document, which is all of the statutory forms that are required for the budget per Indiana code. Now, the forms themselves, I do want to say these are not my forms. I didn't design them. So if you don't like the way they look, it's not my fault. But this is what your citizens will see. So Indiana Gateway, yes. Indiana Gateway is a public access portal that everyone has access to. And if they want to go in and look at your budget, this is exactly what they see. So I think it's important that you see it as well. But I'm not going to present from that. I'm going to present from something that's a little more digested, or a little more digestible, I should say. All the talk of snakes has got me kind of rattled, by the way. I hate snakes also. I'm just heebie-jeebiing over here. And I think my lovely assistant, Frank, is going to help me with the PowerPoint presentation and help with advancing the slides. So the purpose of tonight, for me anyway, is I want to talk to you about the budget process in general and a little bit As I was growing up through the firm, we always talked about, where have you been, where are you, and where you're going. And that's the format of my presentation. And I want to make sure that we're all wearing the same hats as we go through this. So as a council, you have a lot of responsibilities to the utilities, to the town, to the sanitary district, and the water utility fund. But really, we're just talking about the town funds for the next 10 minutes or so, maybe 15. So all of the utility issues are not part of this discussion. This is really focused on the town. So as a public entity, you have the authority under Indiana code to issue a levy on your citizens. But in return for that, they get to have a public hearing to give you their input. So tonight is, you just had that statutory requirement, and the summary that I'm going to give you will tell you where you've been, where you are, and where you're going for 2022 and beyond. So I'm not a person that reads from the slides a lot. So on the next slide, my talking points are written out here, but what I want you to understand is that the graphs that I'm going to show you and the funds that I'm going to show you substantially cover all of your operations. So as a town, you have several funds, more than I cover in this presentation, but most of the funds have like a specific purpose. They'll get in a few dollars, they'll spend them for a specific purpose. So not a lot of management has to go into it. The state doesn't necessarily need to know a lot about those funds. They don't require you to go before them for those approvals. But the ones that I'm talking about are the ones that are required to go to the state. So the funds that we're going to talk about cover 96% of your payroll, 99% of your supplies, 41% of your contractual services. So substantially all of your spending. Forwarding to slide 5. So this slide is a high level visual aid to chart progress over the course of time. So as a government, one of the ways that we measure financial health is looking at your operating reserves. And your operating reserves are the math between your ending cash balances into your spending. So at the end of the year, whatever your cash balance is, we look at the spending, whatever that percentage is what's called your operating balance. And from an analytical standpoint, we'd like to see that above 15% for sure, and really even inching closer to that 50%. And the magic behind that is 15% means that you've got 2 months worth of cash sitting aside to pay bills. So if there's any delays in any revenue streams, you got a little bit of an operating reserve to make sure that you can get through to your next deposit. And the 50% goes back to the concept that as a local government, you really have 2 big paydays a year, in the spring and in the fall when the property tax settlement comes in. So you have to manage your money in between those draws. And the 50% reserves means that you would always have 6 months worth of money to get you to your next draw. And those of you that have been around for a while, you remember the reassessment and trending years when we borrowed money just to make, to get through to the next draw. So this is your counteraction to that era, the 15 to 50%. So what you can see on this slide is that over the course of the last 10 years since 2011, we've been in that corridor. Been over 15% and under 50% in your operating funds. And you'll notice that in 2019 and 2020, we started taking a little dip there. And there's some headwinds that local governments face. And you're no different in that regard. But your headwinds are related to some cost allocation. And we're going to talk a little bit later that circuit breaker is actually starting to mean something here. And we've seen that in 2019, and then in 2020, we all know that we lived through a pandemic and revenues sharply dropped. Things that we used to charge for just didn't happen. So it is not uncommon for units of government to have a little bit of a dip in 2020, and you're no exception. But for your operating funds, which are defined as your general fund, your MVH, local road and street, parks and rec, and public safety, the operating balance is about 26% at the end of 2020, which is, 1/4 of the year. On page 6, or slide 6, is the same graph, but this is for all of your other budgeted funds. So in addition to your operating funds, you have some cumulative funds and some economic development funds, TIF fund. All of those funds have different purposes the cash flow isn't the same all the time. You may put money away for a few years and then spend it all at once, or spend, in an irregular pattern. So we look at those separately, but what we can see is that historically we've been in that same corridor, more than 2 months worth of reserves, but less than 5 months. So part of our objective is to continue that process. The budget process is a way that we measure our ability to do that. Next slide, slide 7, talks about the assessed value of the town. And the assessed value is important. It isn't something that you can directly affect with a decision. You affect it more with policy and over time. But the assessed value of the town has, really been stable from 2011 to 2018, but now you can see it starting to trend up. And in 2019, 20, and 2021, that nice growth rate has allowed you to maintain a stable tax rate, which means that the citizens have a more predictable tax bill each year. And part of that is done because your assessed value is growing and you can get additional levy without actually having to raise the tax rate. So that's encouraging news. Page 8 is for the numbers people in the room that just really like to look at numbers. It's everything that I've talked about pretty much on the last few slides, but numerically. Your annual levy back to 2011, circuit breaker credits, your tax rate back to 2011, your assessed value since 2011, and the percentage change in all of those. I think this is important because part of knowing where you're going is kind of understanding where you've been. And the thing that I want to emphasize on this particular page, if you look at the third column from the left, it's a column called circuit breaker credits, column B. And you'll notice at the bottom, or if you'll notice in 2011 to 2019, the circuit breaker credits are relatively small, meaning that in 2011, for example, there was $9,000 of credits that were given back to taxpayers. And just because there's always someone in the room that doesn't know what circuit breakers are, I want to just take 30 seconds and talk about circuit breakers. So all of us, in addition to being, public servants, you're also citizens. And our Constitution says that we have a cap on how much we're going to pay on our personal property. And that cap is 1%. So if you have a $100,000 home, you're not going to pay more than $1,000 in property taxes. And if you have a commercial property or a farm, there's different rules, but the concept is there's a cap. And as everyone puts their budgets together, we develop tax rates, and the town taxes, the schools tax, the county tax, the state taxes. If an individual taxpayer gets a bill that's $1,100 and their cap is $1,000, then that $100 is called a circuit breaker credit. They don't have to pay it. And what happens is all of the taxing units in that district share in that credit. So in 2011, you shared $9,000 worth of credits, which means that your citizens, some subset of your citizens, would have otherwise paid $9,000 more. So from 2011 through 2019, you can see that those numbers have been really manageable, very small. But in 2020 and 2021, they're starting to jump up. And you may ask, well, what happened? Assessed value is going up, why are circuit breakers going up? But some of this is just the individual properties within your town. And the circuit breaker is one of those things. It's a little bit of a sinister, well, not sinister is not the right word. It's a little bit of a challenge to find because you don't really know what it is until you're ready to send out the tax bills. And you don't send out the tax bills till spring. So when we forecast, we make an estimate, but then as the year unfolds, we know what the actual numbers are. But in your case, I talked about headwinds earlier. This is one of them. We're starting to actually have to think about circuit breakers here. And I can tell you, I give this presentation or a version of it a dozen times each year. And I talk to communities that are losing 30% of their levy or more to circuit breakers. You're losing a very small percentage, but it's still real money. And it's something that we have to navigate around. So page 9, a few bullet points there. In 2022, the state currently is predicting that your circuit breaker will go up to 433,000, so a little bit more than what it was in 2021. So again, something that we have to deal with. And as a result, we're putting that into our financial model to make sure that we can pivot and understand how to manage around it. So that's where you've been. 2022 budget, I'm going to go to page 11, or slide 11. And fundamentally, this is what you do each year. You take the best information we have, we make the best decisions possible, and you make adjustments along the way. I mean, in a lot of ways, it's like our own budgets. You know, we expect a salary. Sometimes we get it. Sometimes we get a little bit more, a little bit less. We know we got to make a mortgage payment, car payment, whatever else we have to do. And then whatever's left, we maybe go out and buy a new lawnmower or whatever. Town's the same way. We look at our resources, make the best decisions we can, but we have to constantly make adjustments. As new influences come in, headwinds or opportunities, the budget process is continually monitored to allow us to react. On page 12, a few things to know that the property tax levy growth quotient for 2022 is 4.3%. That's the same percentage that every unit of government across the state gets. So your levy last year plus 4.3% is the levy you get this year. That new levy, some of that you'll lose to circuit breaker, but the rest of it is available to handle your increases in budget, your inflationary factors, and any strategic initiatives that you have. The bullet point second from the bottom, the 2022 tax rate, based on what we know today, we expect your tax rate to slightly drop from 0.9232 to 0.9206. And this is by design. For the last few years, you've worked with my predecessor, John Julian, with Scott Miller and others in our firm and your bond counsel to develop a plan to manage that tax rate and generate dollars so that you can purchase equipment or purchase strategic initiatives. So this year is no different. And what we've looked at and what we've modeled based on the growth in the assessed value and the financing plan, we think your tax rate is going to be about the same. And notice I use a few wiggle words, and that is because we base your tax rate on the certified assessed value, which we know today. County auditor said this is the certified assessed value, but that could change a little bit by the time the tax bills go out. If anybody has an appeal or something similar, that could change a little bit, but we do expect that when it's all said and done, your tax rate is going to be very stable here in 2022. The next slide is, I showed this slide to you earlier through 2020 and showed you where you ended. This slide, I'm showing you 2021 and 2022, and you'll notice there's no little yellow line there. And there's a reason for that. When we submit the budget, the state, they're going to check our math and they're going to give us feedback. But when they do the math, they have to assume that you're going to get every dollar that you budget and that you're going to spend every dollar that you have in an appropriation. That just doesn't happen. Historically, the town has underspent its approved budget, and our challenge now is to manage those revenues and spendings to ensure that that yellow line stays in these corridors. And I will say that this is a monthly process, looking at what's going on and what the challenges are and what the opportunities are and making adjustments. That happens on a regular basis. You may see that in front of you in the form of an additional appropriation resolution or a reduction of appropriation resolution or a proposal for changes in fees or changes in allocations. All of those are tools that we use to make sure that the yellow line stays between the two other lines. Not only for the operating funds, but on the next page for the all other budgeted funds as well. Now, we've been asked to work with the town to bring all of this planning together into a document that not only includes the town, but the utilities and demonstrate in dollars what the plan is. And we were working on that. That information isn't available now. It's not always possible to match everything up when the state wants it. So the financial plan will be done soon, but the budget process is happening now. So we prepared a budget that will go to the state. They'll review it. It will get approved, and then we'll make adjustments to it as circumstances dictate. Now, the next slide, I know many of you have been looking forward to this one. you'll notice that the town assessed value, you know what I'm going to say, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, well, I don't want to say it. Maybe you guys should say it.
For the first time in history, in
well.
2022, we should break the $1 billion assessed value.
Right. So that's a big deal. I mean, it's, you remember earlier I talked about you can't directly affect assessed value, but policies, environment, sometimes luck, all of that factors in. But the fact that you've eclipsed that $1 billion, from your standpoint and from the taxpayer standpoint, the higher that assessed value, as long as it grows more than the levy growth rate, it means the tax rates are going to stay stable. So we like to see that assessed value line arching up, and you certainly have that here. So that's definitely a tailwind for us. Page 16, I show this graph all over the state, and normally, you see that little red sliver in the top right corner? That's your circuit breaker losses. But you can see historically, you can barely tell. If you look closely, there's actually a little red line at the top of the blue area all the way back to 2011. But you just never noticed it. Now we're starting to notice it. So it's something we have to pay attention to. Other places I go, the red line or the red area is as big as the blue area.
And I think where we live really makes a difference because a lot of people don't know the 1, 2, 3 rule with circuit breaker.
Yeah.
So
that's a very good point.
yes.
So that's where you are. Now, where are we going? 2023 and beyond. And in accounting terms, I'm an accountant. That's called operational accountability. So are we positioning ourselves to continue to provide service in the future? So in 2023 and beyond, obviously there is a long-term need to align revenues with spending. It's just basic math. That process is ongoing. It will never, even when you're done, you still have to adjust it and continue to monitor it. So we'll continue to do that in 2022 and 2023. But another element that's out there, I'm just going to touch on this briefly, is some of the challenges we faced in 2020 were related to the pandemic. Obviously, the American Rescue Plan stimulus bill, the town's going to get some dollars. In fact, some of them you've received already. Some of those dollars can be used to help with your headwind problems. Some of them can be used for strategic matters. But all of that information, we'll continue to evaluate. We'll answer any questions you have. There's a lot of authorized uses of spending, but all of them have to be vetted and considered. So any questions that you have on the American Rescue Plan as it relates to the budget or the operations of the town, we can certainly provide support to you and answers to all of those questions. But that is something that we're going to see a lot of in 2022, 2023, and 2024. There's also the infrastructure bill. The infrastructure bill will create some opportunities for the town. Will create some opportunities for the utilities that are going to have to be evaluated. And you'll have to make strategic decisions about how you want to take advantage of that. So this planning process and the budget process will help you to measure the impact of all those decisions. So I believe that is my last slide. Contact information for David and I are on the last slide if there are any follow-up questions. And we're also happy to answer questions now.
Any questions? If we're good, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I would like to personally thank both of them for making themselves available up here. They have the long drive home tonight and the time zone change as well. But they've been available to us through our emails, middle of the night, phone calls, number crunching, and it's been a great collaborative effort. So thank you.
Thank you for all your work. Next.
I would like to also ditto that to David and Dan, since the transition from coming on as clerk and from John Julian to you guys has been wonderful for both Jackie and I. And communication has been great, and the leader, the mentoring has been wonderful. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Next, we have the town council reports. Councilman Starkey,
I have nothing at this time.
Councilmember Tanis.
Spent several days down at the AIM conference last week, learning new skills and new things, not only about Dyer, but about other towns and cities here in Indiana. It was a great opportunity, lots of workshops, really appreciated all the work that AIM put into that. I also have a letter from Bill Gray from Kaler Middle School I'd like to read. To what may concern. Good day. My name is Bill Gray and I am the athletic director at Kaler Middle School. Kaler recently hosted a 14-team cross-country tournament on Wednesday, October the 6th. I'm writing this letter to commend the excellent work and assistance the town of Dyer employees gave me on that day and other days that I asked for their help. Dyer Parks Department, the Police and Fire Department, and especially Public Works Department have been extremely helpful with numerous Kaler events. Without these dedicated employees, these types of events would not have run as smoothly as it did. Their efforts and assistance went well above and beyond expectations. They help with setup, keeping with the event running, and even lent a hand on to clean up. I would like to especially recognize Brian Lane. He was extremely helpful in all aspects of the event. He was truly an intricate part of the event's success. To say the least, it was a great experience to work with such a dedicated, professional, and hardworking group of employees. I cannot thank the town of Dyer enough for all their assistance and dedication. Thank you, Bill Gray. So we really appreciate the comments because we know we have great employees, but it's nice to hear it from somebody outside. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Myers.
I also wanted to say that I was able to attend the AIM conference this year. And I attended one of the workshops that talked about what the PD goes through on a daily basis on trying to yeah. So if you haven't been able to do something, walk through their shoes. I mean, we all hear about what they do every day, but walking through your shoes and having somebody approach you and have to help bring them back down and talk them down and then making decisions in a split second was mind blowing to me. Like I've heard it, I've seen it, I'm a resident, I appreciate them, but walking through that was amazing. It changed my entire outlook on them. And if you ever have a chance to do something like that, I would suggest that everybody does. And I mean, it was amazing. It really was. So if we can ever get that here, I'd like everybody to do it.
Thank you. Thank you. Councilman Kramer.
Yeah, a couple items. I'm sort of gonna go in reverse because of what we talked about here. One is Councilwoman Myers and myself, one of the workshops was this video computer scenario for police departments, very interactive. We got in there, they explained it, and they looked for a volunteer. So I graciously raised her hand and got her to go up there. They immediately put on a weapon on her along with a taser, put the screen up and got her in several different scenarios. I was very proud of her because she stepped right up and did it. A great job. And even just sitting there watching her, you get a great appreciation for what our police do, what they go through. Great training program to be utilized. Hopefully we get an opportunity to utilize that, or we already have some. The people with the snakes. Yes. I've already responded to your email. I will come by. I will take the snakes because if you don't know, it's illegal to kill them in Indiana without a permit. They're also federally protected under non-game statutes. So please do not willfully kill them. Natural ways to keep them away. You can use powdered sulfur, or if you want a little more natural way to do it, get some clove and cinnamon oil and put it in your yard. You can buy that at any store. It naturally repels them. So please do not kill them anymore. They're great at reducing the rat and mice population. And if you really have them in the yard or around that heater, I'll come out and do it. I've been doing it since I was a kid. It's no big deal. But please don't tell my wife about it, all right? She won't like it. I'll get your question in a minute. So those are some natural ways to help take care of it. Backing up to the little pond by Briar Cove. I live on the next street over. It's funny because we were and have been working on Pheasant Hills Pond to reduce the pollution and the algae. So there's some natural solutions. They have small, very shallow water fountains. We can maybe put a little small fountain in there, help aerate it. They have, we looked at fish that eat algae called tilapia. I don't know, it was just an idea that we looked at, and they have snails that eat it too. So there's natural ways to take a look at it, and we'll be looking at it proactively for you. Your lifeguard chair, where's my lifeguard guy? I love it. Every time I go by, I was a lifeguard back in my younger days. So I pointed out to my wife, told her, I'm gonna sit up there. But very, very nice. I do appreciate it. Then getting back to the AIM conference, yes, wonderful conference, a lot of workshops, a lot. I probably didn't want to learn because of the budgeting and a lot of numbers. I'm not a big numbers guy, but they break it down just like they did tonight, so we can understand it and know what we have and what we got to utilize with it. I want to thank the police, always doing a great job out there. Fire department, just amazed with the risk reduction and a great open house. I don't know how you arrange to have an 80-degree day, beautiful, sunny. It's very nice. A lot of kids, a lot of families out there. Very proud of our fire department. Our DPW always doing a great job patrolling the town before I can even call them. They're picking up branches everywhere and cleaning up. Great job. Tell your guys, thank you, Jeff. Appreciate it. And all the town employees, we appreciate too. Every one of you guys. So thank you. Some issues that have come up real quick. We have a Dyer welcome sign on every entrance in Dyer except one. And it's on 213. So some residents brought it to my attention and went there and looked. It's becoming a major travel area now. If we can take a look at it, I don't know if we really want a big one, but something that's a welcome to Dyer right there would be nice. I also, myself and Councilwoman Myers talked with some members on the Cherville Town Council, and we're looking at partnering together to get a bike path down 213. I've tried to get it down a rail line that's abandoned. Even went to Washington, DC, talked with the Surface Transportation Board. No luck. So if we can partner, that might be our next best item to get a bike trail to connect. Let's see what else we have. Oh, I had some complaints about unwanted salespeople coming, knocking on doors. Some of them don't have IDs on them. I was told that the main person only needs to have it, the rest of them don't need to utilize an ID. I'm not sure if that's true, but I want to look at the ordinance. A lot of neighbors were telling me they told them to leave and they would not leave. Very persistent, so I'd like to take a look at that. Let's see. Oh, and I want to thank DPW on the fountain in Pheasant Hills. Very nice. If you haven't seen our new little fountain out there, please take a look at it. It's a start of sort of an experiment. Town council wanted to see how it would work, what would happen. But we're going to continue to further develop it. I know we've talked about a walking path all the way around. So stay tuned. We got a lot of great things coming up, and thank you.
Thank you. I also want to thank Public Works and Timber Masters. They took a huge maple tree, which was dead, down on Sycamore. I went to work, came back. You never would have known there was a tree there. So awesome job by them. Next, we have the Clerk Treasurer's report.
Steve brought up about the solicitation policy. We were looking at that last year. So I have a stack that was in to do from Tom's list in that. And girls in the office did some research without the town. So we should look at that because a lot of people don't want the solicitation. I still kept it there, hoping it would come back up someday.
Okay.
Or I would have to have like name badges, but they all have to file at the clerk's office.
And they all do have name badges that are approved.
We'll take a look at that ordinance. I think
Yeah.
it's well overdue to revamp it and modernize it.
I'll scan it over the weekend.
Thank you. Town Manager.
Yes, quick on the building update. You see we're kind of in the middle of parting our dust again. We're moving all around to get this place updated and modernized with some of our new logos and new looks and some new sunshiny colors splashed throughout here. We are having a ribbon cutting for the Central Park Fire Station, which also houses parks, a little bit of police, but mainly serves as the purpose of the North End Fire Station. That is this Saturday at 10 a.m. So many of you that live close by, stop over for the 10 a.m. ribbon cutting. And then immediately after the ribbon cutting will be kind of an open house to walk through. Fire Chief Martin will be there, Police Chief Alcott will be there, and Director O'Shea will be there. They show off their new building. They're very proud of it. And then I'd like to defer the rest of my time to Julie from our Shared Ethics Commission for a real quick word.
Hi, Julie.
Hi, everybody. My name is Julie McElmurray. I'm here to give you a quick update on the Shared Ethics Advisory Commission, or Ciac. As a reminder, I represent Dyer on this commission. I have 3 items to update you on today. First, we did welcome 2 new commissioners to the group, Todd Elliott representing Chesterton and Brian Lowry representing Whiting. Second, the training committee continues to make great progress. We hosted a board and commissions training the evening of August 30th. There were 44 attendees, and the training presented by Dr. David M. Lamardi was titled The Pursuit of an Ethical Organizational Culture, and it was very well received. Ciac has finalized the printing of the Employee Ethics Guide. This is a pamphlet that covers our code of ethics and common ethical dilemmas. And I expect to be contacting Dave soon about distributing the ethics guide and the code to all our municipal employees. The training committee also presented a recommendation to contract with an outside firm to create new ethics training videos to be used in our ethics training. Our very own commander, Kelly Carroll, was a big help in reviewing the vendor. Ciac has approved the recommendation, and we're currently working with the Joint Board of Delegates to get approval for the expenditure. And once it's approved, we'll work on getting those videos completed, and then we'll be updating our training curriculum to include them. We expect that the new curriculum will be rolled out sometime during 2022. And third, and most importantly, registration is open for our 2021 Ciac Ethics Summit. This is our 10th summit. This event is open to the public, and details are included in the flyer that I've made available here. I think you guys have gotten this via email, and I'll leave some out on the table for folks here. Again, it's open to the public. The summit's going to be held the morning of October 29th at the Avalon Manor in Maryville. Violet Sistaveris, who is a prominent NIPSCO NiSource executive, will be our keynote speaker. And you can register online at sharedethics.com. And that's all I had. Does anybody have any questions?
Thank you for the update, Julie.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, Town Attorney, Mr. Cedia.
Thank you. A couple items. First of all, the town just filed a lawsuit to collect long overdue false alarm bills to the tune of about over $30,000. I won't mention the property owner. We are buying and selling an easement related. We're selling an easement to NIPSCO. We're purchasing one in Munster for the water project. And then just to update you on the property acquisitions, one detail I should mention is that when the properties have been acquired, either by purchase or by court order, due diligence requires us to file a separate lawsuit called a quiet title action, where we give notice to anyone who had an interest in the property before we acquired it, including tenants, mortgage holders, things like that. And we get an order from a judge saying, Dyer owns this property, and that finalizes them, and then any disputes before that order go away. So that will be down the pike on all of these properties. So if you see multiple lawsuits being filed, don't be alarmed by that. It's just part of the process.
Thank you. Boards and commission, Frank, Utility Board.
Yes, moving forward with our major projects. I think you kind of see that every day when you're driving up and down Calumet Avenue. Hopefully those disruptions will become less here. The first segment of pipe, about 2,400 feet, has been laid between the booster station and Northgate. They'll be working on the other sections, should hopefully finish those by mid-November as far as the drilling, and start going into connections into December for the Munster line. And then we'll proceed into the line that goes to Highland, our supply line to Highland. That will probably finish drilling hopefully sometime in December with connections in January. Distribution line from the booster station down to 213th redundant distribution line. That one is about 90% complete now. And they're working on some different aspects of that, should finish here hopefully in the next 30 days for connections there. And then, of course, down to 77th Avenue for our emergency connection there. So all those are proceeding pretty well at this point. If I understand correctly, Jeff, our phosphorus on the sanitary side, our phosphorus project is now operational essentially. And we're going to get a chance to see how it performs. So that's kind of exciting for us. Treatment plant upgrade, more or less finishing design on that particular project. As you recall, we had SWIFT monies that didn't come along. We'll have other monies that we're working with to try to realize that project, breaking it into phases. Perhaps we may have to move some of the components back in time. That's something, of course, Dan had mentioned the fiscal, the overall financial planning. This is going to be part of that and understanding how that happens and when it does. So hopefully we'll be able to sort some of those and get better answers on it over here over the next 30 to 60 days, along with Dan and David and their team. So, and again, I want to extend my thanks to you guys for your efforts and responsiveness to this whole process. Like Dave was saying, lots of late night emails and this kind of stuff really helped us through a lot of this different aspects of this. So that's essentially it. One last thing is we'll be meeting next week with Highland to begin our conversations regarding transport fee and percentage usage. So that's going to be important for us to understand what that component of our rates are going to look like. We know what our wholesale rates are going to be that we're receiving from Hammond, but that's been a significant variable for us. So we should be able to get some clarity on that, and that process will guide what we're doing with rates in terms of transport fees with Munster. So that's right.
Thank you. Annette, Park Board, do you have anything to add? There's a lot of talk, I know, tonight.
I've heard a lot.
Okay.
And I'm paying attention to it. And personally, I like a lot of landscaping and separation of properties from the public path. And so I'm paying a lot of attention to that. And I kind of agree with the people that are concerned about the large rocks in the retention pond. It probably does form a serious hazard for children. So that'll be another thing that the park board will certainly need to be addressing.
Okay.
So we'll be on it.
All right. Thank you. Next, we have department heads. Chief Martin, Fire Department.
Yes, in the month of September, Dyer Fire Department responded to 134 total calls. We had 371 hours of training. Fire Inspector Vander's in and completed 21 fire inspections. On top of that, he's completing some pretty comprehensive fire pre-plans at Meadow Lake Condominiums and Coparts on Clark Road. Our open house was a great success. We appreciate all of our vendors and our guests and citizens that stopped by to hang out with us. We're finishing up all the schools this month. We're going to go back in the spring again to all the schools. So we're going twice a year. And last month, we actually received $7,000 in grants for community risk reduction, $5,000 from NIPSCO. That is all going to be going to smoke detectors. Attorney Cedillo was kind enough to help us out with some waiver forms. And that's going to allow us to purchase 315 smoke detectors that we'll be able to install in homes in Dyer. And the other $2,000 going to go towards some training props so that we're going to be getting into the schools and everything else to train all of our employees in town, teachers, and anybody else that wants it. So,
thank you. Chief Alcott, Police Department.
In the month of September, we had 892 incidents, 27 arrests, 30 accidents, 247 citations, and 416 warnings. In addition to the monitoring of Calumet Avenue with the new speed signs, it's going very well there. People are starting to reduce speed. Actually, what's helping is the construction right now and adjusting to it. So it doesn't seem like there's an overwhelming bad presence for everybody because of that. It helped to ease the tension with it. But we are seeing a big change in the speeds. That's all I have.
Thank you. Mike O'Shea, Parks Department.
We have just the two projects going on right now in the north end, obviously at Central Park. Majority of the work has been on the parking lot. Gear Up construction is planned to be out there until November 15th is the plan. The weather stays better. They'll go on past that, but they're moving pretty well. They're still planning on getting asphalt down on the parking lot before that time, so which would be good. The other project that we have going on was over at Autumn Chase Park. Gary Material Supply is the contractor there. They have started. They have some of the walking path dug out already. The playground equipment is gone that was there. They'll be working as also as long as they can, but both those projects are moving well. We have the Halloween parade this Sunday, 2:00 here at Town Hall, and then for our two other projects that were in the early phases, well, not early phases, but moving along, are preparing for next year would be the Elmer Miller project out here for the splash pad, and then the Cherry Hill Park Improvement Project with a new playground, some walking connections, and then the Besson Hills Pond Path around the pond project too. So those are still in the design phases, but are being worked on.
Jeff, Public Works.
Just to let everyone know, leaf collection will be starting next week. And that'll continue all the way through December 3rd, weather permitting. Limb removal throughout the town will continue until November 1st. At that point, we will stop for about a month while we're doing the leaf removal, but then we'll begin again for 1 week after that, from December 6th through the 11th, just to make sure everything's good for through the winter. As Frank said, with the phosphorus project at the treatment plant is up and running. It was up and running since yesterday. It seems to be working really well. So we're gonna go through the punch list items, some odd items that still need to be addressed, programming and such. But right now the current level is 0.1 and our limitation is 1.0. So it is definitely meeting those limitations. We're going through all of the equipment and buildings, getting the prep for the winter, make sure all the heat's working. Trucks serviced, just checking on the hydrants, make sure they're pumped out so that way we don't have any issues through the winter. And then the first week of November, we have a contractor coming out to do the sidewalk replacement for the fall. These are the sidewalks that are going to be replaced outside the road projects. So again, they'll be here, in a week or two, getting those certain sidewalks that don't meet the safety requirements fixed. So that's it.
All right, thank you. Neil, road projects.
And Mr. President, while Neil's walking up, if I can add something to the trick or treat hours that were mentioned earlier. Police department's going to have extra patrols out there. Fire department, Public Works. We're talking about getting the streets cleaned up, corners that under construction that maybe can get done by that time. So to allow for the pedestrian traffic and all that. So we are all geared and ramped up for the 4 to 7 hours on October 31st.
Thank you.
Good evening. The 2020-1 Osage and Laurel project, we're processed the final pay request and change order through Dave's office. That's approximately $30,000 under budget. The punch list item remains. Most of them have been completed, but there are a few outstanding items that we're working with town manager on, and they'll be taken care of quite soon. The CCMG 2020-2 and the 2020-1 locally funded resurfacing projects are 90% complete. We have some surface that remains to be done on North Winds, more weather related than anything over the past week and a half or so. But that is substantially complete, and then they'll move to restoration, and then we'll get those projects in front of you to close those out, prepare the final change orders, and process payment. The 2021-2 projects that we submitted earlier in July, those have not yet been awarded. So once we get that, I know Dave's on the list and I'm on the list, we'll alert you immediately if those projects were funded at that 50-50 match.
Okay.
Any questions?
One comment. We've had a lot of complaints from residents where their construction has taken place about restoration, that it seems like it's lagging.
Yeah, it is. And that's because they've been focusing on getting the actual hardscape done and the asphalt completed, and then they're moving to restoration. And given the weather and the time frame, getting the asphalt down in a good temperature within the NDOT specs is absolutely crucial. But we're letting them know that restoration items shall not be ignored.
It's always an issue.
It is. It's one of the most inglamorous portions of these major projects, but that doesn't make it any less critical to the town and the residents and the taxpayers.
I just want, just to the same thing that we were talking about before, we have Halloween cleanup. So a lot of that stuff that they were talking about is on sidewalks. Little kids are walking in the dark. So something that needs to be reiterated.
And absolutely. And as they're finishing the restoration, or I'm sorry, as they're finishing resurfacing, they have other crews moving towards that restoration, but I'll get with their project manager tomorrow and make sure that those items specifically, and this time of year, that's always something to be cognizant about, even if we have to put up barricades, cones, or those kind of safety items, but
Okay.
I will get with them tomorrow.
Okay.
Duly noted.
Thank you, Neil.
Thanks so much.
Next, we have ordinance and resolutions. I have ordinance 2021-21, authorizing the issuance and sale of general obligation bonds. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion that we approve ordinance 2021-2020-21 on first reading.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, will the deputy clerk take the roll?
Bob,
Aye.
Mary,
Aye.
Alicia,
Aye.
Steve,
Aye.
Alan.
Aye. Motion carries. Do I have a motion to suspend the rules and approve on second reading ordinance 2021-21?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Sure.
Will the clerk take the roll? Deputy
Bob.
clerk?
Aye.
Mary,
Aye.
Alicia,
Aye.
Steve,
Aye.
Alan.
Aye. Motion carries. Next, we have ordinance 2021-22, appropriating the proceeds of the GEO bond. Do I have a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve ordinance number 2021-22, appropriating the proceeds of the general obligation bonds of 2021.
Do I have a second?
Is that on first reading?
Yes.
It's first reading only.
Yeah, first reading only tonight.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Will the deputy clerk take the roll?
Bob,
Aye.
Mary,
Aye.
Alicia,
Aye.
Steve,
Aye.
Alan.
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Next, we have ordinance 2021-23, amendment to the ordinance employee evaluations. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance number 2021-23, amending policy number 506 of the town employment handbook.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
Other than this really was dropped last minute on us. I think it looks to be just some clerical changes, no real changes to, this is for employee evaluations, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
If I may, what this achieves two things. First of all, it specifies that the employment evaluations are on each 12-month anniversary of the employee's start date. That way they're staggered throughout the year instead of all at once for every department. It was done as a measure to ease the pressure on the department heads. And the second thing it does, it allows each department to come up with its own form for employee evaluations, and only allows the form in the handbook as a default if the department doesn't. Again, to tailor it for each department. And because the handbook is adopted by reference in the town ordinances, this needs to be passed as an ordinance.
Any other discussion? Hearing none, will the deputy clerk take the roll?
Bob,
Aye.
Mary,
Aye.
Alicia,
Aye.
Steve,
Aye.
Alan.
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Do I have a motion to suspend the rules and approve the ordinance on second reading, ordinance 2021-23?
So moved.
Do I have a second? Will the deputy clerk take the roll?
Bob,
Aye.
Mary,
Aye.
Alicia,
Aye.
Steve,
Aye.
Alan.
Aye. Motion carries. Next, we have resolution 2021-34, exercising power of eminent domain over certain real property, specifically 2203, 2204, and 2212 Hart Street. Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve resolution 2021-34, exercising power of eminent domain over certain real property, 2203, 2204, 2212 Hart Street, Dyer, Indiana.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
I just wanted to let the folks know, this could have been done 3 weeks ago, but at the last minute, we didn't have a quorum. So, it could have been done early, so I apologize to you.
When did we find out it, or details?
If I may, how this will work is once this is approved, and all the details are in here as to what the values are and what the offer will be.
When will we receive that?
They have to be sent out certified. We can have them sent out tomorrow. If you want, we can have a copy at the clerk treasurer's office if you want to come in and review it there. And then you either sign it or reject it. If you reject it, it doesn't mean we go to court right away. We're happy to entertain counter offers. But as it stands, we have to send out these offers certified before those discussions.
When we get copies of the appraisals?
If I may on this one, tonight's actions, once they take the next step here, will allow us to finally get you the agreement in hand because it'll be certified. I will personally get it to you guys with copies of the appraisals of each one and the council's offer for the property with the agreement prepared by Attorney Cedia. I can do that as soon as I get the final agreement in hands. Just a matter of paper exchange, so.
What's our estimated timeline when we have to get out?
That is, that's up to closing time. It's a normal closing. Our last closing took a couple weeks, but we are flexible if there's needs for you on time wise. You're hearing this for the first time, so. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, we can have those discussions and work out. We worked out an agreement with one of the other properties. We'll be happy to work.
Yeah, we're just up in here. We don't, we can't really move and you can't really do anything because if you don't know what you've got or when you can, the way houses are going now, they're going in a day.
Right, and unfortunately,
It's crazy right now.
unfortunately with the statutes, the council wasn't able to entertain any kind of negotiation with you prior to the receipt of the 2 appraisals and the official action tonight. So now that that step is out of the way, we can now meet with you and the attorney and make these next arrangements go as smooth as possible. Obviously, the property acquisition was for a project, so the project will determine kind of when we need to close on the house and get it torn
When do
down.
they get started on the project?
That's still up in the air too, getting the properties torn down, getting all the inspections done and engineers involved, so.
Probably won't be till spring. I would have.
We're hoping that all properties are in our possession and torn down by the end of the year, so.
Any other discussion? Will we have a motion and a second. Will the deputy clerk take the roll?
Bob,
Aye.
Mary,
Aye.
Alicia,
Aye.
Steve,
Aye.
Alan.
Aye. Motion carries. Next, new business. We have the CCMG 2021-1. Yeah, Neil, you want to step forward? This is for the design engineering for Magnolia Avenue, 214th Street and Madison.
Correct. This covers the work that's consistent with the 5-year plan.
Okay.
That's the reconstruction of those 3 streets with anticipation to submit that for CCMG of 2022-1. And as we've discussed with the town manager's office, that the applications will begin in January, they'll close in February. Award is anticipated May to June. Then we have up to 4 months from that award date to bid and award the projects. And then we coordinate with INDOT and the clerk's office that they would receipt those funds in more than likely October, November of 2022. And that construction would begin in 2023. And we would coordinate, as we always do, following survey and design with the town manager, DPW, and the stormwater board for their improvements that are part of their master plan. That some of those improvements do qualify for CCMG. Some of them don't, as they're regional, but everything that we can get as a 50-50 match for any of the utilities that we do submit that.
Yeah, I know there's parts of Madison that have never had curbs or storm drains.
And some of those curbs have disappeared. I think gravity's has won that battle. But yeah, you're absolutely correct. Those are three of the, what I would call highest priority but lowest Paisley ratings in town that will move the maps that used to be on the wall back there out of that red zone.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Next, we have accepting a donation from the Firefighters Association to the town of Dyer. Do we need to take action on that, Adam?
Yeah, you need to accept the donation by motion.
Okay, do I have a motion to approve that donation?
Do you have the list of items in your hands?
Yeah, I think I do. Actually, I don't have that
Fire
list.
chief, do you have the list? Okay.
I can read it off for fire chief if you want to read it off either way.
So this goes back to 2015. It's quite a lengthy list. So Hearst hydraulic, e-hydraulic packages, total cost amount was $25,000 for those. Hearst e-hydraulic package, $14,000. 511 jackets with liner and screen printing was $2,100. Running boards on one of our squads was $500. Battery operated positive pressure ventilation fan, $4,500. Start triage kits totaling $949. Binder lift and 2 bariatric tarps totaling $1,800. 2 defibrillators, Zoll Life Pack 1000s totaling $6,000. LED lights totaling $2,100. Stores to stores adapter 5-inch to 4-inch rigid and stores, speaking Jeff's language, $1,500. Striker stair chair, $3,600. Safety vests, $1,700. Tools for our brush truck totaling $350. Stop the bleed training kits totaling $2,000. 4-pack family mannequin CPR training kit totaling $1,500. Hot stick voltage detector totaling $450. A jump kit with equipment for basic life support totaling $1,700. A Life Pack 1000 AED totaling $3,500. Sensitive 4-gas meter totaling $2,500. And public education outreach materials totaling $3,000. There were some other older items that they couldn't find the prices on, but New York roof hooks, some Halligan bars, little giant ladders, and thermal imaging cameras for all apparatus. And that was the list that was presented to me from Eric Wilson, our Fire Association president.
Thank you. Do I have
Make a
a
motion to accept the donation.
Do I have a second? Any discussion?
If I may, just to provide further background.
Yes.
It was the practice of the association, and please jump in if I'm incorrect here, over the years to purchase items for the benefit of the fire department. However, those were never formally donated, so technically the fire department has been using association property. And I think it's to the association's benefit that the town acquire all of this property so that what's used in fire fighting efforts belongs to the town. So this is just a clean up.
Okay.
Chief Martin, can you give that list to the clerk treasurer's office? Because we have to just see which is capital assets. How old would you say those thermal images are?
I would have to get with Eric.
Was that during the Walmart time?
No.
Okay, this was after. Okay, I'm just
Actually, one
making
of those
sure.
is actually right next door to the historic building.
That's fine. I didn't know.
So they've been upgraded and updated over time. So I can get better defined list from Eric.
Okay, I didn't know.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Will the deputy clerk take the roll?
Bob,
Aye.
Mary,
Aye.
Alicia,
Aye.
Steve,
Aye.
Alan.
Aye. Motion
And
carries.
excuse me, Mr. President,
Yes.
the NICE proposal for design engineering.
Yes.
That's actually an agreement. Do we need to take action on that?
Mr.
Yeah,
Ciac?
what's been, what
Okay.
has been proposed to you is an agreement, so. Go ahead and make a motion.
Okay, do I have a motion to accept the CCMG 2022-1 agreement with Nice Engineering?
So moved.
I have a second.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, will the deputy clerk take the roll?
Bob,
Aye.
Mary,
Aye.
Alicia,
Aye.
Steve,
Aye.
Alan.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have property acquisition at 902 213th Street. I need a motion to authorize appraisals on that property.
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, will the deputy clerk take the roll?
Bob,
Aye.
Mary,
Aye.
Alicia,
Aye.
Steve,
Aye.
Alan.
Aye. Motion carries 5-0. Next, we have any questions or comments? Hearing none, do I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor, voice vote?
Aye.
Meeting adjourned. We'll take a 5-minute break and we'll start the study session. work session. First item on the agenda